Ladies and gentlemen, there will come moments in life when emotions rise like a storm: anger, disappointment, fear, rejection. And if you aren't careful, those emotions will start steering your life instead of your purpose. You can't build a destiny on unstable feelings. You can't make divine decisions based on temporary emotions. Emotions are powerful, but they are not supposed to be in charge. They are passengers, not the driver. The danger is when your emotions start dictating your direction, when anger makes your choices, when pain becomes your compass. Bitterness blinds your vision. You see, destiny requires discipline, and discipline means learning how to feel deeply but still move wisely. Just because you feel something doesn't mean you have to act on it. Just because you're hurt doesn't mean you have to quit. Just because you're angry doesn't mean you have to destroy what you built. Maturity is not the absence of emotion. It's the mastery of emotion. It's being able to stand in the middle of chaos and say, I will not be moved by what I feel. I will be led by what I know. Because what you know, your values, your purpose, your calling must always outweigh what you feel. When emotions rise, pause, breathe, pray, reflect. Don't speak words that your destiny will have to apologize for. Don't make choices that tomorrow you'll regret. Remember, temporary emotions can create permanent consequences. Your destiny is too precious to be driven by your moods. You've worked too hard to let anger wreck it. You've prayed too long to let fear freeze it. You've come too far to let insecurity stop it. Control your emotions before your emotions control your future. Stay focused, stay grounded, and let wisdom be your guide. Because the one who learns to rule over his emotions will rule over his destiny. Life is a journey, and every journey requires direction. You need vision, you need purpose, and you need focus to reach your destination. But what often happens along the way is that emotions, those fleeting, predictable feelings that rise and fall like waves, begin to fight for the driver's seat. Anger wants to grab the wheel. Fear wants to take control. Pride wants to steer you in the wrong direction. And before you know it, your life starts drifting away from purpose and into chaos, because emotions were never designed to lead. You were. Emotions are real, yes. They are powerful. They are signals that something is happening inside of you. They are not supposed to be your guide. You were created with logic, with wisdom, with discernment, with spirit. Those are the tools meant to steer your life. Emotions are passengers, meant to be acknowledged, not obeyed, meant to be felt, not followed. When you allow emotions to take the wheel, your direction becomes unstable. You make decisions out of anger that you later regret. You walk away from things you were meant to build. You speak words you wish you could take back. You slam doors that God intended to open. It's easy to confuse emotional intensity with truth. Just because you feel something deeply doesn't mean it's real. Just because fear feels overwhelming doesn't mean you're in danger. Just because you feel unworthy doesn't mean you lack worth. Emotions exaggerate. They amplify what's temporary and make it look eternal. That's why you can't hand them the keys to your destiny. You can listen to them, but don't let them lead. You can learn from them, don't let them rule. Think about a storm. When the winds are raging and the rain is falling, it's not the time to change your direction. It's the time to anchor down. Your emotions can be like that storm, loud, confusing, unpredictable, but your soul needs an anchor, and that anchor is truth. Wisdom and self-control. When your emotions tell you to give up, truth reminds you of your purpose. When anger says fight back, wisdom says stay calm. Fear says run, faith says stand still. The key to peace is not the absence of emotion, it's knowing who's in control. When emotions rise, some of the greatest regrets in life are born in moments of emotional chaos. People destroy relationships because they couldn't manage their temper. They abandon opportunities because they couldn't manage disappointment. They walk away from blessings because they couldn't handle hurt. Every great destiny requires emotional discipline. It's not that you'll never feel hurt, anger, or fear. It's that you'll learn to keep moving forward even when you do. You'll feel it, process it, but you won't surrender to it. Every time you let your emotions drive, you give away your authority. You were meant to have dominion. over your words, your thoughts, your actions. You cannot conquer anything around you if you cannot first conquer what's within you. Mastery begins internally. The person who learns to manage their emotions can handle success. The one who's ruled by feelings will sabotage blessings because their moods are unpredictable. Let's be honest, emotional control isn't easy. It takes maturity. It takes spiritual strength. It takes awareness. There are moments when you'll want to explode, when the pain feels unbearable, when disappointment feels too heavy. But that's when your greatest growth happens. That's where character is forged. It's in those moments when you choose to respond with patience instead of rage, when you decide to pause instead of react, when you refuse to let a temporary emotion cause a permanent mistake. Sometimes you have to talk to yourself like a driver talks to passengers. You have to say, I hear you, fear, but you're not in charge. I see you, anger, but you're not driving. I feel you, sadness. I'm still in control. You acknowledge them, but you don't surrender to them. You don't silence your emotions. You simply put them in their proper place, because when you silence emotions, they fester, but when you control them, they serve you. You see, emotions are supposed to serve your destiny, not sabotage it. They were given to give color to your life, not confusion to your path. Passion helps you connect with others. Joy fuels your energy. Sadness teaches you empathy. Anger can alert you to injustice. Each one has a purpose when balanced under wisdom. Without balance, the same emotions that could build your life can break it. You have to learn to separate what you feel from what you know. Feelings change by the hour. Truth remains constant. You might wake up feeling discouraged. What you know is that you're still chosen, still capable, still destined. You might feel rejected, but what you know is that rejection is often redirection. You might feel afraid, but what you know is that fear is not the end of the story. What you know must always lead what you feel. Don't let emotions rewrite your purpose. Don't let them detour your faith. Don't let them make permanent decisions out of temporary storms. Pause before you speak. Think before you act. Pray before you decide. Because emotions can whisper lies that feel true in the moment. Wisdom whispers truth that lasts a lifetime. The one who rules his emotions rules his destiny. If your emotions drive you, they will drive you into chaos. If you drive them, they will take you toward destiny. Emotional control doesn't mean you suppress what you feel. It means you steward it. It means you harness the power of emotion and turn it into motivation instead of destruction. It means you use pain to build wisdom, anger to build strength, fear to build courage. So take back the wheel. Tell your emotions they can ride with you, but they can't control you. Let your purpose sit in the driver's seat. Let wisdom hold the map. Let peace be your compass. Let faith fuel the engine. Because when emotions are passengers, they can't wreck the vehicle. They can only witness the journey. And when you reach your destination, you'll look back and thank yourself for every moment you refused to let feelings decide your fate. You'll realize that you didn't just survive emotional storms, you grew through them. You became stronger, wiser, and more stable. You didn't let the storm inside of you destroy the promise ahead of you. Emotions are temporary, but destiny is eternal. Keep your hands on the wheel of purpose. Keep your eyes on the road of faith, and no matter how loud the passengers get, never forget you're the driver. Your destiny depends on it. Destiny is not discovered by chance. It is developed through discipline. Every great purpose, every powerful calling, every divine dream requires a steady hand, a focused mind, and a disciplined spirit. You cannot walk into destiny with a casual attitude. You cannot fulfill purpose with inconsistent habits. The doors of destiny don't open to the emotional, the distracted, or the undisciplined. They open to those who are committed, consistent, and controlled, people who have trained themselves to show up when feelings fade and to stay steady when storms arise. Many people desire destiny. Few are willing to pay the price that discipline demands. They want success, but not sacrifice. They want progress, but not process. They want the crown, not the cross. Discipline is that invisible bridge between potential and manifestation. Without it, dreams remain dreams. With it, the impossible becomes possible. Discipline is not punishment, it is preparation. It's the daily decision to align your actions with your assignment. It's waking up and choosing to do what's right, not what's easy. It's saying no to distractions, no to excuses, no to the impulses that want to pull you away from your mission. Discipline is what molds character. It sharpens focus. It strengthens endurance. It builds a foundation strong enough to hold the weight of destiny. Talent can get you noticed, but only discipline will keep you elevated. You can have all the gifts in the world, but if you lack self-control, you'll sabotage your own success. Destiny doesn't belong to the most talented. It belongs to the most consistent. There are people with less talent, but more discipline who rise higher because they learn to do the small things well. They learn to stay steady in seasons of silence. They learn that discipline isn't glamorous, it's grit. It's not loud, it's loyal. It's not emotional, it's intentional. When you are disciplined, you don't chase feelings, you follow principles. You don't wait for motivation, you move from commitment. Motivation is momentary, discipline is permanent. There will be days when you don't feel inspired, when you don't see results, when you wonder if your effort even matters. But discipline says, keep going away anyway. Destiny is built on the decisions you make when no one is watching, sacrifices that no one celebrates, on the consistency that no one claps for. Discipline is the backbone of purpose. Without it, you'll start strong but finish weak. You'll dream big but fall short. You'll have vision but no execution. It's discipline that turns vision into victory. Every great achiever, every person of purpose, learned the art of staying focused when distractions called their name. They learned how to manage time, manage energy, manage emotions. They learned how to train the mind to obey the mission. There will be seasons when discipline feels lonely. Everyone else is relaxing, you'll be working. When others are comfortable, you'll be stretching. When they're celebrating now, you'll be preparing for later. But remember this, discipline delays gratification so destiny can deliver greatness. You're not missing out. You're being set apart. You're not behind. You're being built. You're not denied. You're being developed. Every destiny requires a level of pruning. There are habits you must cut off, relationships you must release, behaviors you must correct. Discipline teaches you to say, I can't do everything everyone else does because I'm not called to what everyone else is called to. When you know your purpose, you understand your boundaries. Discipline defines those boundaries. It protects your focus, your energy, and your peace. Sometimes discipline means being silent when your emotions want to speak. Sometimes it means walking away when pride wants to argue. Sometimes it means staying committed to a goal that no longer feels exciting. That's what builds strength, doing the right thing long enough to see the reward. Discipline trains you to value the long term over the short term, progress over pleasure, consistency over comfort. Destiny is not a moment. It's a lifetime of small, disciplined choices that compound into greatness. The great leaders of the world didn't wake up overnight in their purpose. They endured seasons of training, testing, and transformation. Discipline doesn't show off, it shows up. It's showing up to practice when nobody's watching. It's showing up to prayer when you feel dry. It's showing up to work when you're tired. It's showing up to growth even when you're discouraged. When you are disciplined, you move from emotion to execution. You don't need to feel ready to act. You act because you're committed. Discipline is stronger than doubt, tougher than temptation, and louder than laziness. It's the voice that says, keep moving when your body says stop. It's the inner strength that refuses to compromise even when compromise feels convenient. Discipline gives direction to desire. Many people have the desire to succeed, but not the discipline to sustain success. Desire can ignite the fire, but discipline keeps it burning. Without discipline, passion becomes wasted potential. But with discipline, passion becomes purpose in motion. If you want destiny, you must learn to deny yourself certain things now so you can walk in greater things later. That's what discipline really is, delayed gratification in the service of a greater goal. It's choosing focus over fun, growth over gossip, purpose over pleasure. And while the undisciplined look for shortcuts, the disciplined understand that process is the shortcut. Every breakthrough is preceded by a breaking, and discipline breaks you in the right places. It breaks bad habits, weak mindsets, inconsistent patterns. It reshapes you for where you're going, because destiny doesn't demand perfection, it demands preparation. And preparation is the child of discipline. There will be times when discipline feels painful. It will require sacrifice. It will test your patience. It will make you question why you started. Stay with it. The pain of discipline is temporary. The pain of regret lasts forever. If you quit because it's hard, you'll end up restarting because it's necessary. Discipline is what keeps you from living in cycles. It breaks the pattern of starting over and teaches you how to keep growing. Destiny cannot dwell in disorder. If your habits are chaotic, your life will be too. Discipline brings order to your chaos, clarity to your confusion, and peace to your purpose. It's the structure that allows success to stand. So wake up every day and recommit to your discipline. Speak over yourself. I will not be distracted. I will not be derailed. I will not be ruled by feelings. I will stay consistent until I see the result. That kind of mindset moves mountains. That kind of focus shapes futures. That kind of discipline unlocks destiny. You were not created to live small, impulsive, or inconsistent. You were created to live intentionally. You were built for progress, not passivity. The road to destiny is narrow. Few find it because few can stay disciplined enough to stay on it. But if you can stay focused when others give up, stay faithful when others walk away, stay disciplined when others drift, you will walk into everything that was meant for you. Because destiny doesn't respond to wishful thinking. It responds to disciplined living. Discipline is not a prison, it's protection. Guards your purpose, refines your character, and proves your readiness. When life tests you, discipline will keep you grounded. When blessings come, discipline will help you handle them. When opportunities arise, discipline will make sure you're prepared. So, build your habits with intention. Guard your focus with passion. Protect your time with purpose. And remember, destiny isn't discovered by those who dream about it, but by those who discipline themselves to walk toward it every single day. There comes a time in every person's life when you must stop letting emotions dictate your direction. Growth demands control. Purpose demands patience. Maturity isn't measured by age, appearance, or experience. It's measured by how you manage what moves inside of you. Emotional mastery is the evidence of true maturity. It is the ability to feel deeply yet act wisely. It is the strength to stay calm in chaos, to stay kind in conflict, and to stay grounded when everything around you tries to shake you. Life will test you through situations designed to expose what still controls you. Someone will disrespect you to see if anger rules you. Door will close to see if disappointment drives you. A delay will stretch you to see if impatience still has power over you. Every challenge is a classroom, and emotional mastery is the lesson. You cannot grow without being tested in what you feel. The storm doesn't come to destroy you. It comes to show you what's still steering your heart. Maturity is knowing that just because you feel it doesn't mean you have to express it. Every emotion doesn't deserve a reaction. Every offense doesn't deserve a response. There is power in restraint. There is wisdom in silence. Immature hearts explode. Mature souls evaluate. They pause before they speak. They pray before they act. They don't let a 5-minute feeling ruin a lifelong purpose. You can't master your emotions by pretending they don't exist. You master them by acknowledging them, understanding them, and then controlling them. You have to learn to recognize what triggers you, what drains you, what motivates you, what distracts you. Emotional mastery isn't suppression, it's self-awareness. It's learning to observe your emotions without becoming enslaved by them. When you're emotionally mature, you stop living like a thermometer that reacts to temperature changes around you. You become a thermostat that sets the tone. You don't let other people's chaos dictate your calm. You don't let their bitterness poison your peace. You decide who you will be, regardless of how others act. That's mastery, responding from stability, not reacting from insecurity. Maturity doesn't mean you never feel pain. It means pain no longer controls your purpose. It means you can experience heartbreak and still move forward with grace. It means you can be disappointed and still stay disciplined. It means you can be criticized and still stay confident. When you've mastered your emotions, you no longer give people the power to pull you out of character. You stop letting external situations control your internal peace. There is a quiet strength in emotional maturity, a strength that refuses to fight every battle, argue every point, or defend every misunderstanding. The mature understand that peace is more valuable than proving a point. They don't chase validation. They don't crave attention. They don't need everyone to agree with them. They've learned that real power is not in reaction, but in regulation. Emotional mastery is not built overnight. It comes from discipline, reflection, and time. It comes from walking through fire without becoming the fire. It comes from being hurt but choosing not to become bitter. It comes from facing offense and deciding not to take it personally. It comes from realizing that emotional maturity is not about what happens to you. It's about how you handle what happens. You can't control what life throws at you, but you can control your attitude toward it. Maturity teaches you that peace is an inside job. If your peace depends on people behaving a certain way, you'll never have stability. But when your peace is rooted in who you are, not what others do, nothing can steal it. You learn to find calm in the storm, clarity in the noise, and composure in the chaos. Mastery means knowing how to pause. The moment you feel overwhelmed, pause. When you feel offended, pause. When you feel the urge to react, pause. In that pause lies your power. Pause gives wisdom room to speak before emotion makes a mess. Many destinies have been delayed by a lack of pause, by decisions made in moments of anger, by words spoken in pain, by actions born from insecurity. Emotionally mature people live with intention. They don't allow every emotion to lead them because they know emotions are temporary, but consequences are lasting. They don't waste energy on what they can't control. They choose their battles. They pick their focus. They protect their peace. That's why their presence feels steady. They carry calm in a world that thrives on chaos. True maturity requires humility. The humility to admit when you're wrong, to apologize when you've hurt someone, and to forgive even when it still hurts. Emotional mastery isn't about being unshakable. It's about being teachable. You learn from your emotions instead of being led by them. You listen to what your anger is telling you, but you answer it with understanding, not outrage. You hear what your sadness is saying, but you use it to grow, not to sink. You feel the fear, but you walk forward anyway. Growth happens when you realize that not every emotion needs expression. Some need elevation. When you rise above what used to trigger you, when you stay peaceful in places where you once would have exploded, that's growth. When you stop needing revenge and start seeking peace, that's mastery. When you can bless what tried to break you, you've graduated from reaction to revelation. Maturity teaches you timing, when to speak, when to stay silent, when to step away. It gives you emotional intelligence, the wisdom to sense what others feel, and the grace to respond with empathy. It makes you gentle without being weak, confident without being arrogant, strong without being harsh. Emotional mastery balances truth and love, power and patience, fire and focus. Sometimes emotional maturity means being misunderstood. It means staying silent when others misjudge you. It means letting go of the need to explain yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Immature hearts crave validation. Mature souls crave peace. When you reach a certain level of growth, you stop explaining and start evolving. You stop chasing closure and start creating calm. Every season of emotional mastery deepens your wisdom. You begin to see that people's actions often come from their own pain, not from your failure. You stop taking things personally. You forgive faster. You detect quicker. You love stronger, but you love smarter. You stop expecting perfection from others because you understand how much grace you need yourself. Maturity doesn't mean you never cry. It means you don't collapse. It doesn't mean you don't feel anger. It means you don't let anger dictate your response. It doesn't mean you don't have weakness. It means you no longer let weakness win. Mastery is not the absence of emotion. It's the presence of control. When you master your emotions, you unlock freedom. You are no longer tossed by moods, opinions, or circumstances. You live steady, rooted, and whole. You become unshakable, not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. And that strength is the mark of maturity. So keep growing, keep learning, keep mastering the inner world, because every outer victory begins within. When you learn to rule your emotions, you rule your destiny. When you can stay calm when others crumble, focused when others fade, peaceful when others panic, that's when you know you've reached a new level of maturity. Because in the end, emotional mastery isn't just control, it's freedom. Freedom from reaction, freedom from regret, freedom from being ruled by what was only meant to teach you. And when you walk in that kind of freedom, nothing and no one can shake the peace that maturity has built within you. Life has a way of testing how well you manage your moments. The truth is always the big things that destroy people. Sometimes it's one small decision made in a moment of emotion that changes everything. One outburst, reaction, one word spoken in anger, one choice made in pain. And suddenly something temporary creates something lasting. That's the danger of living by emotions. They don't stay, but their consequences do. You see, emotions are momentary. They rise like waves and fall just as quickly. But the choices you make while those waves are high can build or break what you've been working toward for years. One moment of rage can cost you a relationship. One moment of fear can make you abandon opportunity. One moment of pride can destroy a partnership. That's why wisdom teaches us to pause before we act, to breathe before we speak, to think before we move, because temporary emotions can leave permanent marks. So many people have lost peace, purpose, and potential because they made decisions based on feelings instead of facts. Feelings are fickle. They change with seasons, moods, and circumstances. Consequences don't fade as easily. When you act out of impulse, you might feel justified in the moment, but you'll feel regret in the aftermath. You can't rebuild what emotion burns down in seconds. When you're emotional, your vision becomes cloudy. Anger blinds you, fear paralyzes you. Jealousy distorts your perception. Sadness convinces you that this moment defines your life, when in reality, it's only a chapter, not the whole story. That's why you must never make permanent decisions in temporary seasons. You must learn to manage your emotional moments with maturity. The wise pause when they're upset. They wait until the emotional fog clears before they make a move. Because the wrong words can't be unsaid. Wrong decisions can't always be undone. One message sent in anger can fracture trust that took years to build. One reaction in bitterness can destroy your credibility. Emotions might pass, but the damage they cause can echo for a lifetime. Temporary emotions have a way of exaggerating reality. When you're hurt, everything feels hopeless. When you're angry, everyone feels like an enemy. When you're lonely, every exit looks like abandonment. But emotions are storytellers, and not all of them tell the truth. They narrate from the perspective of pain, not purpose. That's why you must learn to listen to your emotions without letting them lead you. Think about the times you almost gave up. In that emotional moment, quitting seemed right. You were tired, disappointed, and ready to walk away. But if you had, you wouldn't have seen the breakthrough that came later. You would have let a passing feeling rob you of a permanent blessing. That's what emotions do when left unmastered. They whisper lies that sound like logic. They convince you that the temporary is permanent and the pain is forever. The person who learns to control emotions learns to protect destiny. Every time you pause when angry, you protect your peace. Every time you think before reacting, you protect your integrity. Every time you forgive instead of fighting back, you protect your future. Emotional maturity isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's the strength to choose stability over impulse, purpose over pride, patience over provocation. Many people spend years repairing what they broke in a moment of emotional instability. They rebuild bridges they burned with words they didn't mean. They try to reclaim peace they traded for revenge. They try to heal hearts they wounded in moments of pride. That's why emotional control isn't optional. It's essential. It's not about suppressing how you feel, it's about stewarding it. It's about recognizing that every emotion carries energy, and you must decide where that energy goes, into healing or into harm. Temporary emotions can make you forget long-term truth. They tell you, do what feels good now, while destiny whispers, do what's right later. They say it now, but wisdom says, wait until you calm down. The difference between emotional reaction and wise response is time. Give time a chance to clear your vision. Give your heart a moment to settle. Emotions speak loudly in the moment, but clarity speaks quietly after reflection. You have to understand, every feeling deserves a reaction. Some emotions just need release, not response. You can cry without quitting. You can be angry without attacking. You can be hurt without harming. You can feel deeply and still act wisely. That's what separates the mature from the immature, the ability to carry emotion without being carried away by it. Every emotional storm will pass. No feeling lasts forever. But what you do while it's raging will determine what remains when it's over. If you respond recklessly, you might find yourself standing in the ruins of your own reaction. But if you respond wisely, you'll come out stronger, calmer, and more centered. Life will always bring moments that test your emotional control. Someone will betray you. Something won't go as planned. Doors will close that you thought would open. But those moments are opportunities not to lose control, but to prove growth, to show that you can stand in the storm without becoming the storm. Before you react, ask yourself, will this decision still make sense when the emotion fades? Because emotions fade fast, but consequences linger long. The argument ends, the words stay, the anger cools, but the damage remains. The emotion dies, but the memory lives. That's why wisdom always whispers, pause, think, reflect. One of the marks of emotional intelligence is learning how to self-regulate, how to be aware of your feelings without being controlled by them. When you can identify that what you're feeling is temporary, you regain power. You realize, I don't have to act on this. I can feel it and still choose peace. You learn that emotions are indicators, not instructions. They reveal what's happening within, but they don't dictate what happens next. Every time you master a moment, you build your future. You protect your relationships. You strengthen your reputation. You honor your purpose. Emotional control creates lasting peace, but emotional chaos creates lasting pain. You get to decide which one defines your life. Sometimes silence is the greatest act of strength. Sometimes walking away is the loudest form of wisdom. Sometimes holding back is not weakness, it's maturity. Because it takes more power to stay calm than it does to lash out. Takes more strength to think clearly than it does to react quickly. There's a saying, don't make decisions when you're angry, promises when you're happy, or responses when you're hurt. Why? Because all of those are moments of emotion, moments that distort reality and cloud reason. The more disciplined you become emotionally, the more peace you'll protect and the fewer regrets you'll create. So, before you act on an emotion, remind yourself this feeling will pass, the result of my reaction will stay. Emotions are visitors, they come and go. But the choices you make in their presence can linger for years. Guard your words or tone. Guard your reactions, because you might win the moment but lose the meaning. Never let a 5-minute feeling rewrite a lifetime purpose. Never let a moment of weakness destroy years of work. Never let temporary pain push you into permanent regret. When emotions rise, pause, breathe, and remember, calm is power, patience is protection, and peace is wisdom. Temporary emotions are just waves. Don't build your house in their tide. Let them rise, let them fall, but keep your foundation steady. Because when the storm passes, what remains will be the fruit of your control or the wreckage of your reaction. Choose wisely. Because though emotions are temporary, the consequences are not. There will come moments in life when your feelings and your purpose collide. Moments when what you feel doesn't match what you're called to do. Moments when obedience doesn't feel convenient, when discipline doesn't feel rewarding, when staying committed doesn't feel comfortable. But if you're going to walk in destiny, you must learn to choose purpose over feelings every single time. Feelings are temporary, but purpose is eternal. Feelings change with circumstances, but purpose stands through every season. Feelings whisper, take the easy road. Purpose says, take the right road. Feelings say, you're tired, stop. Purpose says, you're too close to quit. Feelings say, they hurt you, get even. Purpose says, forgive and move forward. Every day of your life will present you with this battle. Will you live by emotion or by intention? Purpose demands consistency even when you don't feel inspired. Feelings will have you on fire one moment and discouraged the next. They're unpredictable. They're influenced by people, weather, health, stress, even hunger. But purpose is steady. It doesn't depend on your mood. It depends on your mission. When your purpose outweighs your feelings, you stop being a slave to how you feel and start being a steward of what you're called to do. There will be mornings when you wake up and don't feel like showing up to work, to prayer, to progress. But maturity says, I wasn't built to live by feelings. I was built to live by purpose. You move not because you're motivated, but because you're committed. You don't need to feel like it to be faithful. Feelings make excuses. Purpose makes progress. If you let feelings lead, they'll talk you out of your blessing. Feelings will tell you it's too hard. They'll convince you that rejection means failure, that delay means denial, discomfort means you're doing something wrong. But purpose interprets pain differently. Purpose sees pain as training. Purpose sees waiting as preparation. Purpose understands that every challenge refines you for the next chapter. Purpose demands you rise above temporary moods. You can't build a permanent calling with inconsistent effort. If you let your emotions run your decisions, you'll always be unstable, high when things are good, low when things are tough. But when you're grounded in purpose, you can face storms without losing direction. The winds may change, but your compass stays true. You'll never fulfill your destiny if you stop every time you don't feel like moving. Purpose is not fueled by comfort. It's fueled by conviction. Conviction says, even if I'm tired, I'll keep building. Even if I'm hurt, I'll keep believing. Even if I'm misunderstood, I'll keep walking. Because feelings fade, but calling remains. Your purpose isn't about how you feel in the moment. It's about what you're meant to accomplish in your lifetime. Purpose asks for your discipline when feelings ask for your comfort. Purpose requires endurance when feelings demand escape. The ones who achieve great things aren't those who always felt strong. They're the ones who kept going despite weakness. There are times when following purpose will hurt. You'll have to walk away from things that once felt good, but no longer serve your growth. You'll have to say no to instant gratification so you can say yes to long-term greatness. You'll have to silence the emotional noise and listen to the quiet voice of destiny. Because purpose doesn't shout, it whispers direction to those who are still enough to hear it. When you live by purpose, you begin to understand that feelings are information, not instruction. They tell you something is happening within you, but they don't tell you what to do. You can acknowledge them without obeying them. You can feel anger but still act with peace. You can feel fear but still move forward in faith. You can feel disappointment but still pursue excellence. Purpose gives you perspective. When feelings tell you this is the end, purpose reminds you this is just a chapter. When feelings say you've lost too much, purpose whispers there's more to gain. When feelings scream give up, purpose declares you were made for this. That's why it's so important to stay grounded in your why. When you remember why you started, you can endure how you feel. Sometimes you'll have to do what's right while feeling wrong. You'll have to show kindness when your heart is angry. You'll have to work hard when your body is tired. You'll have to forgive when you don't feel like letting go. That's what separates those who fulfill purpose from those who follow impulse. Because following feelings keeps you trapped in cycles. Following purpose pulls you toward progress. Purpose will ask you to walk through discomfort. It will stretch you beyond your limits. Test your patience, endurance, and faith. But every step of obedience builds strength that emotions could never sustain. The more you choose purpose, the more your emotions begin to align. Eventually, what once felt impossible becomes natural because your spirit learns to lead your feelings the other way around. There's freedom in living for something bigger than emotion. Feelings are fleeting. They can't hold the weight of destiny. Purpose gives you something to stand on when emotions shake you. Purpose reminds you that what you're doing matters even when no one sees it. It gives meaning to sacrifice, reason to struggle, and beauty to persistence. You will never regret choosing purpose over feelings, but you will always regret choosing feelings over purpose. How many dreams have died because someone didn't feel like continuing? How many relationships were lost because someone didn't feel like forgiving? How many call-ins went unfulfilled because someone waited to feel ready? Purpose doesn't wait for perfect conditions. It creates them through consistency. When you live by feelings, you live reactively. Life controls you. But when you live by purpose, you live intentionally. You control your direction. Purpose brings clarity in confusion, calm in chaos, conviction in uncertainty. It doesn't eliminate emotion, it elevates it. It transforms your feelings into fuel for growth instead of tools for destruction. The truth is, your feelings will often lie to you. They'll say you're not enough, not strong enough, not capable enough. But purpose speaks truth. You are built for this. You were designed with everything you need to endure what you face. Purpose keeps you steady when emotions try to shake you. It reminds you that storms are temporary, but destiny is forever. So when your emotions rise up and try to pull you away, anchor yourself in purpose. When doubt whispers that you can't make it, let purpose speak louder. When fear tells you to retreat, let purpose push you forward. When your heart feels heavy, let your purpose lift you up. Because purpose gives you direction when feelings give you confusion. The greatest freedom comes when you stop needing to feel good to do good. When you stop needing motivation to move. You stop letting emotion define your effort. That's when purpose becomes your compass. Steady, unwavering, unstoppable. Every day you'll face this choice of feelings or purpose. Choose purpose. Because purpose will protect you when feelings try to mislead you. Purpose will carry you when emotions can't. Purpose will outlast every mood, every season, every obstacle. In the end, the people who change the world, who live fulfilled, who finish strong, they're not the ones who always felt ready. They're the ones who followed purpose when feelings failed them. They're the ones who understood that emotion is momentary, but mission is eternal. So let your purpose be heavier than your emotions. Let it outweigh your fear, your fatigue, your frustration. Let it steady you when everything else shakes you. Because when purpose becomes greater than feeling, progress becomes inevitable, and destiny becomes unstoppable. Every destiny is shaped not only by decisions, but by the emotions that drive those decisions. Every great life is built on the foundation of self-mastery, the ability to control what happens within you when you cannot control what happens around you. Because the truth is this, if you cannot rule your emotions will rule your destiny. You can have talent, vision, and opportunity, but without emotional control, you will sabotage what was meant to bless you. You can pray for open doors, but if your anger, insecurity, fear keeps slamming them shut, your destiny will remain delayed. Emotional control is not weakness. It is the highest form of strength. It is the quiet power that allows you to stand firm when everything inside of you wants to react, explode, or give up. Life will always test your emotions. People will disappoint you. Circumstances will frustrate you. Seasons will stretch you. What defines your future is not what happens to you. It's how you handle what happens to you. Two people can face the same storm. One falls apart, the other rises stronger. The difference is not the storm, it's the strength of emotional control. Emotional control means you decide what deserves your energy. You refuse to let temporary feelings create permanent decisions. You stop giving the power of your peace to anyone who didn't pay the price to earn it. You stop letting external chaos dictate internal calm. You learn that you can't lead your life if your emotions lead you. Every destiny demands discipline. Discipline begins in the mind, but it matures in the heart. When your heart learns restraint, when your spirit learns patience, when your mind learns focus, your emotions begin to align with your mission. That's when you become unstoppable. Because storms don't destroy disciplined people, they develop them. Emotional control doesn't mean you don't feel. It means you've learned to filter. You can feel the sting of betrayal, but still choose forgiveness. You can feel fear, but still move forward. You can feel disappointment, but still stay faithful. You can cry and still continue the assignment. That's not denial. That's dominion. It's ruling over what tries to rule you. You cannot build destiny on emotional instability. You can't lead others when you're led by reactions. You can't handle promotion if you can't handle pressure. Success is not just about talent or timing, it's about temperament. It's about being steady in spirit when circumstances shake everything else. When you learn to control your emotions, you gain control over your outcomes. You stop reacting to life and start responding with purpose. You stop letting anger ruin opportunities. You stop letting fear stop progress. You stop letting sadness silence your voice. You take back authority over your narrative. Every emotional reaction is an investment. It either builds your destiny or breaks it. Every time you lose control, you lose momentum. Every time you respond with wisdom, you reinforce your future. The more you master yourself, the more you can manage what's before you. Because the person who controls their emotions doesn't just survive the storm, they navigate it. There are moments in life when emotional storms will rise unexpectedly. Someone will say something that cuts deep. Plans will fall apart. You'll feel misunderstood, overlooked, undervalued. But emotional control teaches you to pause before you respond, to breathe before you break, to think before you speak. Because one impulsive moment can undo years of progress. Control doesn't mean suppression, it means stewardship. You don't bury your feelings. You manage them. You don't ignore pain. You process it with patience. You don't let temporary hurt create permanent hostility. You learn to sit with what you feel, understand it, and then choose your next move from wisdom, impulse. When your emotions are stable, your destiny becomes stable. When your peace is consistent, your progress becomes consistent. You begin to build a life that isn't shaken by every disappointment, insult, or delay. You develop emotional armor that doesn't block empathy but protects purpose. You become the kind of person who walks through fire without losing focus. Destiny doesn't belong to the emotionally unstable. It belongs to those who can feel deeply yet stand firmly. The world will always test your patience, provoke your reactions, and challenge your peace. But emotional control means you rise above the noise. You no longer chase validation, argue with small minds, or waste energy proving points that don't matter. You stay focused on what you're becoming, not distracted by what's bothering you. Emotional control also builds credibility. People trust steady leaders. They follow those who don't lose their temper under pressure. When your emotions are managed, your influence expands. You become a safe place, not just for others, but for your own destiny. Because the one who can manage emotions can manage responsibility. Sometimes emotional control looks like silence. Sometimes it looks like walking away instead of fighting back. Sometimes it looks like peace in the middle of chaos. Control isn't always loud. It's often quiet, calm, and confident. It's knowing that your reaction is your power and your restraint is your strength. When you start mastering your emotions, the enemy loses access to your peace. Life's tests lose control over your focus. Negativity loses its grip on your energy. You stop being manipulated by what you feel and start being motivated by what you know, your vision, your purpose, your calling. Emotional control gives birth to clarity. It helps you see the lesson instead of just the pain. It allows you to turn emotional energy into creative energy, anger into ambition, disappointment into direction. Every emotion has power, but that power only produces purpose when it's under control. You can't control who hurts you. You can control how long you bleed. You can't control the weather, but you can control your response to the storm. You can't control what people say. You can control what you choose to believe. That's emotional authority, the power to protect your destiny from emotional destruction. When you live reactively, your emotions own you. When you live intentionally, you own them. You become proactive instead of reactive. You anticipate instead of retaliate. You make decisions based on destiny, not discomfort. And that shift, that inner mastery, becomes the bridge between who you are and who you're called to be. Every great destiny is guarded by emotional discipline. The higher you rise, the more emotional stability you'll need, because success exposes you to pressure, criticism, and misunderstanding. Without control, that pressure will crush you. With control, it will polish you. So learn to pause before reacting. Learn to pray before deciding. Learn to breathe before speaking. Learn to release before you explode. Because every time you master a moment enough, you multiply your power. Every time you stay calm in chaos, you reinforce your destiny. You cannot lead a meaningful life if you're a prisoner of your emotions. Freedom doesn't come from doing whatever you feel. It comes from doing what aligns with your purpose. Comes from mastering yourself so deeply that no situation can pull you out of peace. The one who controls emotions controls direction. One who governs reactions governs results. Emotional control is not the enemy of passion. It is the protector of destiny. It doesn't make you cold. It makes you clear. It doesn't make you detached. It makes you determined. Your destiny depends on it, because every great future is built by someone who learned to rule the inner world before they ruled the outer one. Control your emotions. You'll control your focus. Control your focus, and you'll control your path. Control your path, and you'll control your destiny. So guard your peace, your reactions, rule your spirit, because the one who conquers their emotions has already conquered the hardest battle of all. And that victory opens the doors to every other one.